Greetings, everyone. Wish you a great class. Let's start by contemplating ourselves inside and relaxing. The Siddhi for today is aDitti. A-D-I-T-T-I. aDitti. And I will say it again once everyone is connected. So I'll tell a story until everyone's ready. A student of mine, she was doing the Brahmachitta Brahmadeha to the best of her ability, that she says, while walking in nature. And she realized that everything was real. And she realized that everything was an illusion. Basically, she said everything was real and manifest and everything, but everything was like in a video game, like just constructed there. That is very good. That's the paradox of Brahma. Everything is real and everything is an illusion. It's a paradox. From the point of view of Brahma, what he thinks about is what is actually manifest, because everything is into Brahma's mind. So it's just a thought, or it's just a dream. It's Brahma's imagination. However, that is reality. If we just say it's all illusion, then we become indifferent. It's all real. But it's just something happening in Brahma's mind. You exist because Brahma's thinking about you. And that's how important you are. You would not exist if Brahma was not actually thinking about it. So yeah, that's Karen Tickner, who was walking and got a realization of the Brahma's paradox. Super cool story. I like it. So, you know, the debate, is everything real? Is everything illusion? The answer is yes. All right. Today's Siddhi is aDitti. A-D-I-T-T-I. aDitti. A-D-I-T-T-I. Unchained, unbounded, without chains, or without attachment. I got a comment from somewhere else that sometimes the quality of the typing of Raven Koki is not optimal. I just really appreciate the work of Raven Koki, by the way, when she types all these little notes. Let's see if she's going to type that. Raven started studying with me and other acharyas a few thousand years ago, but let's say in this lifetime, decades. And one day she just decided to start typing what we were saying to make it easier for us to scroll and read. So it's not like if she was a trained professional typist. She's just a girl who felt like she could contribute. And she's been doing it ever since, which is great. So thank you, Raven. And yeah, I mean, if you do a typo, it happens, you know. All right. So, yeah, I wanted to say a little hello. Yeah, you see, some others find it useful. Going back to class, aDitti. So it's not aDitti, it's aDitti. Because of the Sanskrit accent, aDitti. unbound, unchained, and unattached. aDitti. To contemplate aDitti, our first reflex is to do it outside. That's normal. I detach from everything. And with a long period of practice, you would start to not care about what happens to your loved ones, or not care about your finances, not care about social systems and rules and laws. That's a weird hair bump. You see, aDitti is not about, well, it is about non-attachment, but it is not about rejection and denial. It's not about pushing away what you have. aDitti first applies to us inside. To be unchained inside. Now, what does that mean? Okay. So the mistake of aDitti would be to push away the people we love. That's what your ego tries to do to avoid personal growth. Okay. aDitti is not about denying relationships or possessions or your identity. It's about the chains you have inside. When you were raised, when you grew up, you've built conditionings, potentials inside. Now these conditionings, they rule you. You eat cake in a specific way, a specific cake. You can only cook pasta in a specific way if you're Italian. I love to do that joke. You can only eat bread a specific way. You can only walk in a specific way. That's conditioning, okay? Beliefs, force of habit. Then there's the traumas. Big traumas, little traumas, mini traumas. The events that happen that shape your perception of things. If we are exposed to behaviors, to events, to actions done to us, we develop a reflex out of this. Okay. If your parents were violent, you'll have reactions. Not different reactions, but you'll see everyone's motion towards you as a potential hit. So now you're an adult. Someone comes to shake your hand, but a hand approaches you. First thing is that a threat? You see, it holds you back before you can, oh yeah, it's true, it's just a handshake. I'm just trying to take examples that some of you can refer to and some don't. So the events you have while you were developing, as a child, as a teenager, if you were accepted in groups, if you were bullied, if you were an outcast, all of this is still having power inside you. It defines your reactions. Now, let's take a more fabricated and improbable example, but let's take that. Let's say you've been hurt physically. Someone stretches a hand to do a handshake. You have this little doubt. But someone loves you so much, so happy, that this person wants to do a fist bump and it goes like this to you. And then that person was just so happy because a fist bump was, a thing they did with their parents, because they didn't get violented, they got to play with their parents. But the fist bump is enough to make you step back, because all you saw is a fist coming towards you. And the person says, oh, just wanted the fist bump, here, handshake. And you do it, but somehow this person that likes you so much, you will not approach them anymore. Because it is stronger inside you, the feeling a fist is coming. And it's too late. And because of that, you would take distance for someone that loved you so much to do a fist bump, because that was friendly for them. Okay, so that's a kind of fabricated, improbable example. But that's the example I'm giving, okay? So there are opportunities we have in life. Opportunities to do things, especially in the young adult life, and everything is open to us. And we just step back because of our reactions to those opportunities. Everything that could potentially hurt or threaten us, cause rejection, abandonment, we just step back. A friend of mine is divorcing now, and he told me that he spent the last 20 years telling his wife that he's lovable. She married him for, he says, for the wrong reason. I say every reason is good, so that's my opinion. It was a good reason, but in his mind it's a bad reason. He says, she didn't marry me because she loved me. She married me because she was convinced no one would ever love her, and I did. She was convinced, he was brought up with the belief that no one would ever love her. So when a man showed sign of attraction, affection, kindness, she fell in love. She still couldn't believe it was possible. And when he got closer and closer, she was just surprised, but she took it. It's like she just hit the jackpot. One person in the universe will love me. And he spent the next 20 years, having a family life and everything, but sporadically trying to get her to realize that she's a lovable person. And one day she starts to get it, that she can be loved. And she realized that other people were there wanting to be close to her. And she chose someone else. She chose someone that she actually was in love with, that she was attracted. And therefore my friend is getting divorced. Stuff happens. This story, I'm simply using it as another much deeper example of that girl was unable to see her options or possibilities because she was convinced no one can love me, until one guy hunted, insisted to make sure that she knew that she was loved, at least by him. I mean, it's life. You understand? It's life. It's just a very good example of the chains we have inside. So each of us, now I gave two examples, one regarding violence, one regarding love. You can apply this to what you can do in life as a job. I mean, if you don't have a skill, don't pretend that you can do that skill. If you're not an engineer, you won't work in engineering. If you don't have the skills, it's not going to happen. But sometimes you do have the skills or the possibilities, and you're just close to what you could do as a job. That's another example. Simply because you can't imagine yourself doing it. It's like, that's not for me. But there are things you could learn in 5 hours. We're not talking about a bachelor's degree. We're talking about trying, experimenting, and discovering the possibilities. And that's all about knowing yourself. some guy said, I'm not an artist. I'm not a good artist. Did he ever take a pen to try to doodle? Did he ever, did he see if he was an artist? I mean, if he's not an artist and he doesn't care, I don't need to be an artist, then why care? But he said that, I'm not an artist, but he was disappointed not to be an artist. Art, highly subjective. Just get the tools, physical or electronic tools, and play. Start to create. And you'll discover how you are an artist. And how you can make something that can be appreciated by other people. So it has to have some kind of beauty or attraction or standard. But first, the first doodles will look like a 5-year-old. But you see, this guy just said disappointed, I'm not an artist. He has the free time, he has the technology, he has the physical tools, he could just start being an artist. But in his mind, he's convinced that he's not, and it stops right there. So that's another example. I'm using a lot of these different examples to show you that we are chained inside with what we believe is possible. I was mentioning all the different things that I've done in life because I wanted to experiment. I was a guest speaker in a quantum physics conference. I did not study in-depth quantum physics. I'm an amateur, but I did study in-depth spirituality and oneness of consciousness. And some hippies in quantum physics studied consciousness and the fact that there's one consciousness in all the universe and philosophy and everything. So I was a guest, and I actually taught stuff to quantum physicists, the elite of the world, like the best of the best that gathered there. And they gave me the biggest room for the biggest period of time of the entire week. Like no one had the exposure I had. It was not supposed to be like that, but as the week continued, they decided, this guy, we want to hear him more. So, so I just dream of speaking to the quantum physicist in the time of the movie The Secret and What the Bleep Do We Know and all this hippie new age stuff maybe 20 years ago. I wanted to tell them my experience. They invited me. I got an email. They invited me. That's because I wasn't closed my mind. Oh no, like speaking to the elite, this is not possible for me. If I had no competence whatsoever, I would not have been invited. But I had. So that's one thing. Then I felt like speaking to United Nations. I got invited. And I was a delegate for United Nations a very short period of time. But I was a delegate. They wanted to know something about me. I wanted to be, I saw the artists walk out of a limousine and have people take pictures of them while they're on a red carpet, the red carpet thing. I got invited to participate in an amateur contest for amateur musician because I'm an amateur musician. It's not pro what I do, but in the amateur, it's okay enough. I won a prize. So I was invited in Los Angeles, and I walked out a limousine and I walked on the red carpet with people taking pictures. I wanted to dabble in spycraft, not Jason Bourne style, more like a comfy and safe behind a desk. At one point it got more than that, and I did fear for my life. Did get death threats from an actual killer that is in jail now because they found the bodies that he hid in the desert. Yeah, so the real kind of thing. I wanted to feel the spycraft feeling. I got it. I fucking got it. And I said, okay, never again. This is frightening. And also, he extended the threat to my children. So I was like, that's it. We quit it. A team of real pros got on his case, found him and everything. But I wanted to experience the world of spycraft. Before I knew it was actually an extremely mentally and emotionally hard world. It was just because I saw too many movies, and I got to dabble a bit in that for a few years actually. Actually helped a lot of people, saved lives, and gave a lot of tactical counseling. And that was nice. Helped capture bad guys. But at one point it was just too hard on me. But I did it. One day I thought, would be cool to go to space. I mean, why not? Why not gotta go in space? But the desire is not profound and genuine. It's just a curiosity. I don't really want to go in space. I just started to think about it. So I meditated. Okay, of all the possibilities, everything's open. I'd like to go in space. And here, a week, 2 weeks later, a friend of mine is an inventor, and he got invited in the manufacture of SpaceX, the place where they build space shuttles. The first step in me going to space just initiated. Nature found a way to produce a contact. And if that had gone further, everything would have flowed. Until one day I would have talked to some people, maybe not Elon Musk, which is something I'd like to, but not deeply, but I'd love it for fun, you know. But I was not genuinely interested in going to space, and I saw it started and I said, well, I don't really care. So my friend decided to pull out of this deal. I mean, they did a transaction. He fabricated stuff that SpaceX now uses, and it's cool, but the steps were there. But I literally told myself, I don't genuinely want to go to space. The training, the physical effort, all this stuff is not something I really want to invest in. And it faded out. So do you see, that's just an example. One day I said, like, I have this view of myself as some kind of divine entity, but limited. I'm a sparkle of dust, divine entity, like any one of you, like everyone. I don't see myself as better than anyone else. I just see myself as God in this extremely small container. Humble before the Brahm, the thing that is much greater than me. Not to nourish this superiority complex. I am God. Like, if I can say that I am God, then so are you. So it makes me not special. Do you understand? It's very important not to fall into the New Age ego trap. I am God, and then feel divine, and then somewhere your ego says, so I'm better than others who don't feel that. That's bullshit. Okay? Equity means we're all the same. But the fact that I have freed my chains, I could see anything. I could, like, everything's possible. If I desire something, if nature allows it, if the skill set is there, if the possibilities are there, it will happen. I've done so many funky things in so many different fields of work because I don't believe that I am chained. And I know that some of these things will happen and some won't. But I'm not the one who's going to stop it or limit it by my chains. It's just going to be like lack of skill, or it's not possible in the current market, or stuff like that. So yeah, amateur musician, 3D artist, conference speaker, philosopher, writer, diplomat, tactical counselor. I mean, so many different things. And this is just like a fraction of the things that I think on top of my mind. I spent my life doing funky things that people would think that would never happen to me. Well, where are your chains? You have to accept that most of these funky things are highly improbable. It takes skills, it takes a market, it takes the possibilities in the world. So accept that some things just won't happen. But the things that could happen, you might be blocking it yourself with your chains. Do you understand the reason for this dialogue? One day I was saying, like, I feel like God, but like everyone else. I feel like with limitless possibilities. However, I'm just a little guy. I'm just a human. I said that in class. I'm just a human. And Ryan Gebhardt in the back, he just shouted, with skills. And that was funny. Yeah, I'm a human with skills. I did spend time practicing various things, various skills. And when you're enlightened, it's faster to learn skills. When you have Buddha states, skills just fly in and out. So yeah, it helps. But like any humans, I had to practice for my skills. If you practice for your skills, if you still got time in your lifespan to develop something and exploit it, well, go ahead. My mother, who's having trouble to paint now because the fingers are all squished, but up to last year, she was saying, oh, I'm trying a new technique. I want to see how I'm good at that one. And she painted something else. She was still learning and attempting stuff to see if she can deliver good art. I mean, if you want to make a living and you're 76 and you want to start a new career in law, and you never finished your high school, you know, this is when maybe it's not possible. Okay, because of nature, because of reality. However, there are so many possibilities. There's so much space in front of you for many new discoveries. Any age you are, there's space for new discoveries. You could just practice being a good meditator and being skilled at meditations and at receiving revelations of the nature creation. It could be that. It could be to have the relationship you dream of. You know, if in this society you were raised unhealthy, you're way too fat, and you dream of having this sexy little partner that is fit, maybe that's not possible. You have to accept the possibilities that you have now in nature and how you can change that. Then maybe you're not going to have the discipline on changing your physical condition to appeal to the kind of person you want to attract. Maybe you are going to have the discipline. Maybe you are going to eventually have what you want of life. But the chain inside that says, I can't do that. It's never going to happen. If you kill the plan at its birth, what's left for you? Then to dwell on everything that you're missing on life? Oh, of the things you desire, a lot will never happen. Because I have desired a great many things that simply did not pass. And it's cool because, you know, Vishnu wants to experience everything, and I'm just a microparticle of dust stuck under the shoe of Vishnu. And you know, I get an incarnation when he steps. I get to touch the earth a bit. And he also crushes my ego with the same step. That's how I see myself. You know, just some mud stuck under Vishnu's shoe, and he's walking. and I'm having incarnations and lessons of humility. It's a contemplation I like to have. And that sense I've felt as Vishnu, so much feeling of self-importance rise from that, from my ego. It says, I am all things in the universe. I developed such a superiority complex. I saw my behavior. I was just so arrogant. I was young. I was, early. I got these magnificent realizations. So I had to remember to be humble. But humble doesn't mean to be ashamed. I'm not good enough for that. I can't have it. No, humble is, I'm just another guy. Now, what's possible? Let's see what we can do. What's possible? What do I wish to experience in life? Let's contemplate aDitti. Now that you have all this teaching, let's contemplate aDitti. And the chains inside me loosen up. And then they detach. They don't break hard. They just loosen up and then detach. No violence in the process. aDitti. Just letting go of the fears of the past. Letting go of the beliefs of what you deserve or not deserve. The humility to accept in the current condition of health, finance, skills, lifespan, this is what is available to me. With the humility to admit the cards you have in hand, but nothing holding you back inside in everything you just wish to experiment with, just be happy with what you have and see how far you can go. Maybe a change of career. Maybe not even think of career, just say it's a job to make money. You're not thinking career. Career is a big word. Sometimes it's just a job to make money. Sometimes just that. What can I do? And train, learn, discover, practice aDitti. I am not defined by who I was. I'm defined by who I am. That gets better when I am undefined. Let's repeat that. I am not defined by who I was and what I did. I'm defined by who I am now and what I do now. And it gets even better when I become undefined. aDitti. It's not enough to think it in the head, but in the mind, in the intellect, it starts there. Then I have to sink into the abdomen, into the heart. That part, heart, abdomen. And feel these fears that I maybe have not discovered yet. These fears of what I could become. These fears of what could happen to me. Those potentials inside I still don't know I have. I want to just be open, aDitti. Just feel this resistance. It could be a simple fear of your animal towards nature. That's not even potential. It's just my animal has a natural fear towards nature, the jungle. It's very basic. So any fear that I don't know, that I want to define, anything that I am possibly affected by or chained with, let me feel it. And aDitti initiates a process of mourning of courage. Courage is not the absence of fear. Courage is to embrace fears and act anyway. To act even there is still fear. That's courage. So when you feel courageous, you don't feel fearless. It's different. You're fearful when you are courageous. There is fear. There could be shame. It could be pride. Fear is usually what holds you back. Fear is usually what holds us back. So there's a mental aspect of aDitti, like, okay, I'm opening to possibilities. And there's an emotional of feeling that you don't even understand. It just rises. That reaction from nature, that defensive position towards the jungle. aDitti. And you contemplate this liberation, the slow dissolving of chains, the embracing of the limits. Some of these potential will reveal clearly. Oh, I didn't realize I was stopping myself from this possibility because of that belief. Could be. Some of them won't be clear. You'll just feel mourning and liberated. Maybe some forgiveness will be required. Maybe some of the chains is what you have not forgiven. aDitti. Forgiving, mourning what you've lost, embracing the sadness of the suffering that was imposed to you, taking responsibility for your own mistakes, the guilt, the shame of just being human and discovering life. aDitti. aDitti. aDitti will show you what needs to be done to be unchained. It will dissolve any chain that could be easily. It will just do it. And it will show you what needs to be done in terms of personal growth and change of lifestyle. It will open your mind. It will do that. It will unchain you and do whatever is required for you to be unchained. It won't make you push away your loved ones. It's not about non-attachment in the refusal to never be attached. It's not about that. It won't destroy your life if your life is good for you now. Attachment is good until it is not, and then you let go. You learn to move on. Sometimes the best for you in life is just to handle it how it is now. Okay, it's not about rejecting attachments you have. It has nothing to do about that. It's about the release of the chains inside. Now, there is a nice effect of dissolving chains outside. Stuff in your nature, in your environment, that prevents possibilities to be revealed, they will also fall out. Conditions that prevent you from becoming more healthy. Conditions that prevent you from having a different career or job to make money or life situation. Some of these, the work you do inside always reflect outside. It will project and manifest outside. If you've done Brahmachita Brahmadeha, that is just the creation power of Brahma is just flowing. But you have to become that limitless being inside for nature to just flow and unbind you, and it will happen. Sometimes you'll have to act to remove change outside, and sometimes you won't have to. It'll just happen. aDitti. aDitti. Practice it, study it, rewatch the video if you need to. Discover what it feels to be limitless. Humble with the conditions you have as a human and in your life, but not chained inside. And with time, the change will fall out. See what happens. Work on it. Peace. See you next week.